This video is part of the video training series for the eManage VMS cloud-based software by Vending. In this particular video, we are going to focus on how to locate machines inside of your Toucan software. So, prior to watching this video, you need to be familiar with your machine section and how to create new machines and possibly even machine templates. Likewise, your products and your location lists. So the bulk of our time in this video is going to be spent in the working locations area. Now, a working location is nothing more than a location that has a working machine that is actively turning transactions and revenue. So your location list, for example, is all of your locations. It's all of your working locations and all of your old locations, or maybe all of your future locations that you've created but you haven't placed machines there yet. So locations list in your location section are all of your locations. Also, your machine list includes your working machines that are currently located, but it also includes your old machines, or it could include machines that are in storage that are active but they're just not located yet. So it's all machines. But the working location section, that is just locations and machines that are currently placed together and actively working. So that's the differentiation between those different sections. And before we jump into working locations, let's go look at my machine list and my location list so we can kind of see what we're working with. So I'll go into machine list, and in my list I have one machine. It's not located because my location name is blank. Also pay attention to this coils number here. We'll kind of come back to that one. But the machine is active. So I have an active unlocated machine. Now what I'm going to do is quickly add a new machine, and I'm going to add it and make it inactive. In fact, I will name it inactive machine, and we'll save that as an inactive machine. So there it is, and it is not active. Okay, let's do the same thing in the location section. So I'll go into my location list. Right now I have one location. It is an active location. Let's add a new one, and we will make it inactive location. So we'll save that. So there's our new location. It is inactive. So we have two machines and two locations. One of each is active and the other is inactive. Okay, now let's go into working locations. So I'll bring up my working location list, and I don't have any working locations yet. So we'll do this in two ways. First, we'll create a working location, and I'll go through and kind of show you to demonstrate how easy and quickly you can build your list of working locations. And then we will go back through the process again, only we'll spend more time and I'll go through each one of the fields with more detail. So let's go ahead and add a working location. Click on my Add button to open up my new working location window. Now I can use my drop downs to pick my location and machine and put them together. So we'll pick our location, pick our machine. As soon as we do that, Toucan prompts us and asks us if we want to use a machine template. Now, if you've watched the videos on machine templates, you know that I created one called Initial Fill, so I'm going to use it here. We'll pick that template and load those coils. So now my machine is located, all of my coils are designated, and I have the products that I want in there based on my template, along with the coil capacity and the price. And if we go through each one of them, they're all set up the way that I wanted them to be set up with my coil capacity and price. Okay, now if I were to save this, let's see if Toucan lets me. And it doesn't. It lets me know that the date serviced is required. So let's give it a date. And we will tell it that yes, it was Monday at 10 o'clock a.m. when we placed this machine. Now, the only thing left to do is to let Toucan know how much product is in each of these coils so that we can set the baseline for that inventory, and then it can keep track of our machine inventory for us. So I'm going to say fill this machine because I filled the coils to capacity. And we're done. Now my coils are all set. They're filled to capacity. The date and time is all set, and we just save this new working location. And now we have a working location. So you can pretty quickly go through and build a working location without too much difficulty. Okay, we'll go through that process again, and we'll go a little more slowly this time with a little more detail. So to do that, I'm actually going to go back and create a new machine and a new location and place those together. So we'll go back to machine list, and let's create a new machine. And what I'm doing for the machine name here is just what the model of the machine is, and then part of the serial number at the end. But as you know, machine name is totally up to you to define. You can use the location name. If you've got multiple machines at that location, you can say location name with a 1 or a 2 or a 3 after it. Whatever makes sense to you. I'll go ahead and save that. Now let's create a new location. And we'll save that. Alright, so we have a new location and a new machine to work with. Let's go back to working location and put those two together. So I'm going to add my new working location. From my drop-down list, my locations show up except for that inactive location. So my location list gives me a drop-down of all of my active locations. So I can pick them. Now we'll go to our machine. Okay, now we have 3 machines, 2 of which are active and 1 is inactive. But I'm only seeing 1 in my list. The only thing that shows in my machine list are active and unlocated machines. So while the first machine is located, it will not show up in our list. Then we have our inactive machine in the list, so it's not going to show up. So the only machines that will show in this list are unlocated and active machines. So I'm going to pick this machine, and as soon as I do, Toucan prompts me for a machine template. These are the templates that you can build, and you can make as many of them as you want, and only the active templates will show in your list with one additional option, and that's this previous location option right here. Now the way that works is this. If, for example, this machine that I selected had been at a previous location, so it was at one location and now I'm moving it from that location to this new location. If I want to reuse whatever products and prices and capacities were at that old location, then I can pick that previous location option there. And Toucan will go through the history and will find where that machine was last located, and will go ahead and pull that coil and capacity and pricing information and load this machine at this new location with that same information. So that's what previous location does. I'll just go ahead and pick this initial fill again. Before I do that, let me explain what this is down here. If, for example, I don't want to use a template, I can just specify the number of coils that I want Toucan to create for me in this machine. So I could just say, I just want 10 empty coils, and I can say load coils. And then Toucan will create those empty coils for me. So now at this point, what I can do is I can go through and designate this is coil 123, and it has this product in it. And I pick my product, and the products that show in my list here are coming from my product list that I created in my product section. So this drop-down list is only showing me my active products from that list. So you pick your product, then you can set what the coil capacity is for that coil, the amount added, and the current fill for this coil, which we're going to get into a little bit more detail. But I can manually go through and set up each one of the coils myself. If I accidentally pick the wrong template for a machine, or I picked coils and I really didn't want this, all I need to do is go back and reset the machine. So I'll do my drop down, and I have this blank area here. When I click that, it clears out that information for my coils. Now if I pick that machine again, I'm prompted again to either specify the number of empty coils or pick a template. So we'll pick a template this time. and we'll load those coils. Okay, now the majority of all of our coil information is loaded. Here in the route area, this is an optional area where I can create routes. So if I wanted to create an east route and a west route to kind of organize my machines into these two different routes, this is where I could designate that this machine goes on the east route. Or maybe I have a Monday route and a Thursday route. Or there's a route for John and there's a route for Fred. So I can create these routes any way that I want to and just kind of organize the business and when I go and service those machines by route. And that's what this section is here for, but totally optional, not required. I do need to say or document when the date and time that I initially set this machine up, and the time is important if you have a card reader. Frequency, the default is 7, but I can go ahead and change it, and this is really the number of days that I want in between each of my services. And Toucan will use the number that I pick here to set my next service date for me. So if I wanted to go every 2 weeks, let's say, we'll say 14 days, and as soon as I click over here, Toucan figures out what my next service date is. Likewise, I could do 21. Now I don't have to click. As soon as I move off of this field, really, even if I click down here, it just figures out my next service date. These two fields also are just optional, just kind of a way of documenting when I want to go and check on this machine again. The date placed, this again is also optional, and just a way for me to document the very first time this machine was placed. Okay. Cash collected, this is, and we'll go over more detail on these fields when we actually service the machine, but just cash collected when you do the initial setup is always going to be 0 because you're setting the machine up and you haven't pulled any cash out of it. Cash collected would be a place for you to document if you took cash out of the machine when you were there servicing it or filling it up. The fill vends and fill sales. In the Toucan guide, there's a good explanation about what these fields are and how they compare with the data that you get from a card reader. So basically, if you have a card reader in your machine, the transactions coming from that card reader, that e-data, that is your source of revenue. And the fill vends and fill sales is only just optional information that Toucan computes for you. These numbers get computed as you go through and fill products back up into these coils. Toucan will compute the vend and sales for that particular coil, and then it combines all the vends and sales for all of the coils into this fill vends and fill sales area. So if you did not have a card reader in your machine, this fill sales would be your source of revenue for that machine. But if you have a card reader, then the fill vends and fill sales is just additional information that you can use, take it or leave it. It's just data that Toucan is computing for you. Okay. At this point, the only thing we need to do, we've told Toucan where this machine is and which machine it is, the date and time that we set this machine up, our initial placement, and the only other information that Toucan needs is how much product did we put in these coils. Toucan has no way of knowing how much product is in the machine. We do need to tell it that. And we specify that here in this current fill. The current fill tells Toucan that when we service this machine, this is the total amount of product that was in that coil when we closed that machine. Our amount added is if we added new product to the coil, but there had already been product in there, and that really comes into play when we go back to service or to refill the machine later on. In the beginning, the amount added and the current fill are going to be the same number because the coils were probably empty. But amount added would be how much new product I added to the coil, and the current fill is the total amount of product in that coil when I close the machine up. Now I have a shortcut way of telling Toucan how much product I put in the coils. I have this fill machine button here and this fill coil. Now if I click fill coil, Toucan figures out, well, if the coil capacity was 7 and you filled the coil up, then the current fill must be 7. And since it was empty to begin with, you must have added 7 to it. So it does that for that specific single coil. The other coils remain 0. But if I click fill machine, I'm basically telling Toucan, hey, go through all the coils for me and just do that fill coil button. So now all of our coils are all showing full. So now I can tell Toucan, or by quickly clicking that button, I've told Toucan the machine is full, so I can go ahead and now just save this record, and everything that I need, or that Toucan needs, is now saved in this record. Now if, for example, I didn't fill the machine all the way up, but I filled it 80% of the way full, I could still use this fill machine button and fill all the coils up. And now I can just go back through the coils and change the ones that need to be changed. So I can say, well, A1, that one was full, but this one I really didn't have 7, I only had 5. So the current fill is 5 and I only added 5. That one's full. Okay, this one I didn't have as much product, so that one also I filled up with 5, and so I added 5. So you get the idea. You can go through and modify the coils as you need to, so that when you go ahead and save this now, that current fill is telling Toucan how much product was in that coil. So we'll go ahead and save this. Now we've just created that new, or that second working location. So we've got our 2 working locations. Now as our eData transactions come in, they will have something to attach to and figure things out. So what happened when we saved these is we began creating a service history for this location and machine as well. So let's go look at our service history. Now I got a service history option here, and I've got a service history option here. They are the same thing. Doesn't matter which one I click on, they'll take me to the same place. The service history search window is one of the few search lists that does not automatically retrieve my data for me. And that's because there would be so much information that gets added to these windows that you would get back a lot of information that you didn't need. So they do require you to give a little bit of search criteria before you pull back that data. So we're going to just tell it that for this machine we want to see everything. So we'll put on our pick our machine and pull back our service history for that machine, and we've got one row. It came from Toucan, so it's telling us the source and gives us the information, and this is the row that was created when we saved that new working location. So every time we save a new working location, we start a new service history for that machine and location. Now as we load electronic data and as we come back and refill this machine, all of that information will begin to build here in our service history. Let's go ahead and clear out that criteria and retrieve everything back. Now we can see there is both of the rows that came back. However, you'll notice that on this row, the location name, which was Lisa's Owl House, and then that new machine name, those are showing up blank. Okay, no need to worry. If we go back into working locations, you'll see that they are indeed there. Now, if you've seen some of the other videos, the search lists, all these search lists are doing their very best to be efficient. So they don't want to make a lot of trips across the internet if they don't have to. So they retrieve their information when they first open up. So the drop-down list and the information that shows up in here, they get all that information and then they reuse that information, because most of the time the data is pretty static. But when you add something new, if you notice that it doesn't show up, or you go to your drop-down list on these search windows and you don't see your new stuff, or maybe you've deleted something and the old stuff is still showing up and you don't want it to be there, one or two things. The next time you come back into Toucan, it will refresh, or if you just refresh the browser, and we'll just say we'll reload that page. Now we'll go back into that service history, and now the search windows have refreshed, and now we have all of our data showing up. See, I had even forgotten about that inactive location. So, no need to worry. It's the search windows being efficient, but if you want to refresh them, then just do refresh on the browser. Okay, so one last thing we want to look at. Let's go back into our machine list. So we pull up our machine list, and now we notice that we've got location names now showing up for these two machines that we've actually located. So now we have a location name. Likewise, now the number of coils is set as well. So Toucan is letting us know that these machines each have 29 different selections or different coils in them. Okay, so that is how we initially locate machines and initially set them up inside of our Toucan software. Thank you for your attention.